Welcome to our guide on the EU MDR provision for post-market surveillance. For each medical device that is to be sold on the European Union market, the manufacturer must prepare technical documentation to demonstrate that the device was designed and manufactured according to all applicable medical device regulation (MDR) requirements. This includes information relating to post-market surveillance. So, what is post-market surveillance? It is defined as a process of proactively collecting and analyzing experience gained from devices on the market. This surveillance is crucial because some risks may appear only after the product is in use. For example, during transport, storage, or while cleaning. In this module, we will be looking at what is required to comply with this requirement and some practical actions you can deploy. The main question is how to monitor what happens with the product after it has been placed on the market, and whether some situations or risks were not foreseen and whether any product improvement is required. Given the large number of counterfeits that can be found on the EU market, and the great competition for most medical devices, plus the fact that the EU market is very large, the EU Commission realized the importance of a well-designed monitoring system once the medical device goes into circulation. That is why the post-market surveillance system has strict and detailed requirements within the MDR. Therefore, we can say that PMS serves to identify problems in the design of the product and the use of the device after it is placed on the market. There are several MDR articles that describe the requirements, which are further supported by the ISO standard 13485 and the ISO standard for risk management. So, what is the purpose of the post-market surveillance? The purpose of a well-established PMS system is the timely identification of risks that were not known until use, as well as opportunities for product improvements, all with the aim to ensure the safety and intended use of the medical device, meet applicable regulatory compliance, and contribute to life cycle management. In the table, you can see examples of the processes and activities providing inputs to post-market surveillance and the decisions or actions to take based on the post-market surveillance process. The primary information gathered from post-market surveillance are those that can be implemented within your quality management system. Furthermore, the collected data from PMS may change the risk analysis and clinical evaluation, meaning that PMS has a direct impact on the change of technical documentation for the medical device. Additional secondary data can also be gathered from regulatory compliance, improvements and marketing and sales activities. According to Article 15 of the Medical Device Directive, the person responsible for regulatory compliance, the PRRC, is responsible for post-market surveillance obligations. The manufacturer must nominate this person according to the competencies stated in this same article. Also, the ISO TR 20416/2020, Chapter 5.4 relating to responsibilities and authorities, states that top management must define the post-market surveillance team. This team should include cross-functional representatives and process owners. For example, from the Design and Development Department, Risk Management, Quality Assurance Department, Complaint Handling Department, and so on. The number of people involved in the PMS depends on both size of the company and the complexity and risk of the medical device. Each process owner is responsible for collecting and analyzing data from his or her department. To conclude, top management must nominate the PRRC and the post-market surveillance team. The PRRC then coordinates process owners for different post-market surveillance activities. So, how might you go about conducting post-market surveillance? Let us start by looking at the basic structure. According to Clause 8 of ISO 13485/2016, and Clause 10 of ISO 14971/2019. The manufacturer must document one or more processes for collecting and analyzing data from production and post-production activities. MDR Article 10.9 states that the manufacturer's quality management system must address the setup, implementation, and maintenance of a post-market surveillance system following Article 83. Therefore, it is necessary to prepare a documented procedure for post-market surveillance in which you will describe how your PMS system is organized. Let's look at the plan itself, in a little more detail. The PMS plan defines how the manufacturer intends to actively collect and analyze relevant data. The PMS plan should include the following: the scope of the plan, set out the objectives, define the responsibilities and authorities, details of how data collection will be completed, document how the data analysis will be done, organize how the report on data analysis will be completed, and define the review process of the PMS plan. The PMS plan must be prepared before placing the medical device on the market for the first time and updated as necessary during the product lifecycle. This means, if you have a new device for the first time certification, you need to prepare the PMS plan, which would then form part of your technical documentation. If you appoint an EU responsible person, it is likely they will want to review this as part of their due diligence. A well-established PMS system should also define at least the following information relating to the type of data to be collected. Which data from the market and public are necessary to monitor? What are the methods for collecting that data? What are the methods for analyzing the data? How will you draw conclusions based on the analyzed data? And how will you implement any conclusions into both your quality management system documentation and the technical documentation file? For example, risk analysis, clinical evaluation, trend data analysis, and etc. The next thing is that top management must document the nomination of both the PRRC and the post-market surveillance team. The PRRC must prepare the PMS plan and organize a post-market surveillance review meeting with the post-market surveillance team. During this meeting, the results and outcomes of different post-market surveillance activities are reviewed and discussed, and an overall conclusion is drawn. Once the data is gathered and analyzed and any conclusions implemented, the data must also be reported upon. The MDR distinguishes between two types of reporting, depending on the class of medical device. A PMS report should be prepared for all products in Class 1, 1S, 1M, or 1R. The PMS report for products in higher classes, i.e., 2A, 2B, and 3, are called Periodic Safety Update Report. In general, the report on the post-market surveillance must give an overview of gathered post-market surveillance data analysis and evaluation of reported data, recommendations for any corrective and preventive actions to be taken, and conclusions on the benefit or risk determination. The level of detail included in this report depends on the risk class of the medical device and applicable regulatory requirements. If you review MDR Article 85, for the PMS report for Class 1, it is necessary to prove that the PMS plan is implemented as stated in Annex 3. For the Periodic Safety Update Report PSUR, Article 86 requests that special attention should be paid to the conclusions of the benefit or risk determination, main findings from post-market clinical follow-up, device sales volume, estimated size of the evaluation, and other characteristics of the population that are using the device. Here, you can see a tabular summary of the defined content and timelines for reviewing the PMS activities, taking into account the medical device class, as stated in the MDR. To summarize, the key steps to PMS include developing a PMS procedure, appointing the person responsible, define the data to be gathered, implement any actions, and report on the findings. Remember, when developing and implementing your PMS system, you should consider that you are ensuring that the product remains compliant when it is on the market. One of the most difficult parts is defining which data is important for the medical device in question. Keep in mind that the range of data to be monitored should be in direct proportion to the risk associated with the device, based on its intended use. An effectively set up PMS system indicates potential shortcomings in the design or production of your device and defines how you will action them. We hope you found this information useful. If you need further information or have any questions, or if you are looking for an EU authorized representative or UK responsible person, please don't hesitate to contact us.